Hello and welcome to the Street Crime UK YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Today we look at 6 members of a Glasgow crime gang who have been jailed for a total of 25 years after being caught with £600,000 of cocaine, heroin and etizolum that they planned to sell on the streets of Inverness. A 7th member of the gang had his sentence deferred for further reports at High Court in Glasgow. The court heard that Kenneth MacKenzie, Dunbar, Sean Gordon and Danielle Finlay were caught following tip-offs to the police. There was also undercover surveillance on other members of the gang. Miss Finlay's Honda Civic car was stopped by police at the shores of the Loch Ness in the Highlands. Miss Finlay, an administrative assistant with Argyll and Clyde Council, was asked if there was any drugs in the car. She replied, "What's in the car is a long time in jail." Drugs with a minimum street value of £151,000 were found in a rucksack on her front passenger seat. Mr. MacKenzie was arrested at Inverness railway station on November 20th, 2018 and cocaine and heroin was found in his holdall with a street value of £78,000. Mr. Dunbar was stopped at the car park at Travelodge Motor Services area in Stirling. A search of his Peugeot revealed cocaine with a street value of £51,500 and heroin with a street value of £66,000. Mr. Gordon was stopped on the A9 at Tomatin, Inverness. He had cocaine and heroin with a street value of £99,000 hidden under the boot liner of his Renault Megane. Ringleaders Kieran Adams, 28 and Stephen Kelly, 31 were the subject of undercover surveillance and Mr. Kelly was caught in Argyll Street, Glasgow with a rucksack containing cocaine and heroin with a street value of £30,000. Mr. Kelly had just left the flat of another gang member, Karen Reynolds, and a search of the property revealed thousands of etizolum pills with a street value of £105,000 hidden under the bed. Police also found £2,300 worth of cocaine. As police were searching the flat, Mr. Adams turned up. He fled when he saw the police and while running snapped a SIM card in half and threw away a mobile phone to the ground. Judge Lord Boyd told them this was a sophisticated and organised criminal conspiracy and you all played a part. Ringleaders Mr. Adams from Clydebank and Mr. Kelly from Glasgow were sentenced to 7 years and 6 months. Mr. Dunbar, 61, Mr. MacKenzie, 25 and Mr. Gordon, 28, all from Glasgow, were jailed for 3 years each. Mr. Reynolds, 51 from Glasgow, was jailed for a year. Miss Finlay, 30 from Hamilton, had her sentence deferred until December and she was granted bail. They all admitted being involved in the supply of drugs. These charges were aggravated by a connection with serious organised crime. Lord Boyd told Mr. Adams and Mr. Kelly, "You are the only ones who do not have a dependency on drugs. You directed others and your motivation was primarily financial." The High Court in Glasgow heard that the other accused had drug problems and became involved to pay off drug debts. Defence counsel Mark Moore, representing Miss Finlay, said she had a significant drug addiction problem and is taking steps to address that. Her involvement in this was acting as a courier on a single day. She had accrued a significant drug debt and had agreed to act as a courier to help pay that debt off. Lord Boyd is considering a non-custodial sentence for Miss Finlay and has called for further reports on her progress. At an earlier hearing, Prosecutor Richard Goddard QC said this case relates to the large-scale distribution of drugs to the Inverness area. The source of the drugs was Glasgow. He heard the court that Mr. Adams and Mr. Kelly ran the business and used Mr. MacKenzie, Mr. Dunbar, Miss Finlay and Mr. Gordon as couriers. Mr. Reynolds' flat was used to store drugs. Mr. Goddard said Mr. Adams and Mr. Kelly possessed bulk quantities that they would supply to couriers for forward distribution under their direction. Both Mr. Kelly and Mr. Adams were found in possession of significant quantities of controlled drugs. Following the sentencing at the High Court in Glasgow, the senior investigating officer, Detective Inspector William Nimmo from the Organised Crime and Counter-Terrorism Unit in Inverness, said, "This was a complex investigation which took extensive and innovative inquiry to ensure that those at the top of this crime group faced justice. Individuals such as Stephen Kelly and Kieran Adams operate using violence and intimidation, wrecking the lives of people addicted to controlled drugs and that of their families. Profiting from this behaviour is nothing short of despicable, and people like this bring nothing but harm to our communities. We will continue to target other like-minded people where they are from in our efforts to ensure the Highlands and Islands remain an attractive and safe environment to live and visit. I would urge anyone with concerns on information about drug dealing not to stay quiet, but to pass on this to police or through Crime Stoppers. We evaluate and act on every single piece of information we receive, and community intelligence helps us to thoroughly investigate drug dealers and make them face the consequences of their actions. So what are your thoughts about this Glasgow-based drugs gang and the sentences they received for their participation in the drugs gang's operations? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, stay safe.